Hi, I'm Al Fisher here at Metaflex, and we're doing a training DVD now on the newly expanded Metaflex Universal round bar system. This is a table-mounted retractor system that functionally is very similar to our Buchler system, but by design radically different. The round bar system is designed to compete primarily with Omnitrack and Thomson, along with the other knockoffs of the round bar Omnitrack line. What are the differences between the round bar system, such as we see from Omnitrack, and a Buchler style system that has flat rings? Well, the first thing that's different is the ring itself. Here, of course, is a segment from a Buchler system, and the ring segment is flat through this dimension. On the other hand, a round bar system features, rather than a flat ring, it features a frame that is round stock. In other words, if you look at the cross section right here, this is circular. So that's one difference. It's round rather than flat. Another difference is that instead of the traditional Buchler style ratchets, a round bar system has clamps that clamp onto the round bar and by means of a lever lock both the blade and the clamp into position on that round bar. Another difference is that instead of a traditional Buchwalter or Buchler style ratcheted blade, a round bar system has blades that have round handles that slide into that snap clamp that I just showed you. Yet another difference is the way that the traditional round bar systems mount on the OR table. While they use in some cases a field post device, in other cases they use multiple field post devices. This first drawing that you see shows an Omnitrack wishbone system. This wishbone is mounted to a single table post and has two arms onto which the blades with the snap clamps are attached. Now notice at the bottom of this picture the rather large space. It's very difficult to put a retractor blade at the very bottom of that wishbone. That's the reason that a number of the blades that Omnitrack sells are swivel. In other words, at the end they will swivel this way. So it can be mounted, looking back at that same picture, near the bottom but angled in such a way as to be able to retract downward. This next photo shows another type of Omnitrack system where rather than using the wishbone style ring, a ring around the incision is built almost like an erector set. You can see here that there are two field posts. Across connecting them is a horizontal segment. Coming down the sides of the patient are two lateral arms. Each of these horizontal and lateral arms requires a coupler to attach it to one of the two field posts. Nurses don't like this system. It's very difficult to set up, it's time consuming, and not particularly well liked. This picture shows a Thomson round bar system, very similar to the Omnitrack we just looked at, with two field posts, a horizontal bar, and two lateral bars coming out, each of which has a coupler. In all cases of the Wishbook and these two double field post systems we've looked at, there's an opening near the bottom that is not completely covered by a ring segment, if you will. What are the components of the Metaflex Universal round bar system, and how do we differ and we think improve upon the Omnitrack style particularly? Well, first of all, our system will feature the traditional Buchler table post to mount the system to the OR table. Of course, just like our Buchler system, this is available in the 12-inch, the 18-inch, and the 24-inch sizes, and also is available with the vertical extension bar for very large patients. The next part of the system is the traditional coupler found in the Buchler system. Then we start to get a little closer to a round bar. This is our split ring that is the answer to the wishbone system that Omnitrack sells. it mounts onto the buckler-styled post. I'm going to turn this way so I can point out a couple of other features to you in just a second. And features two arms, much like our eagle that's within the buckler system. And let me just find where I can turn this. There we go. So you can see that the shape of this, if you remember what the wishbone system looked like on the Omnitrax system, this is very similar. But I want to point out a couple of differences. Here is one of the wishbones from Omni. Now the first thing I want you to look at is the difference in the shape of these arms. Notice how the angles we have are a little bit sharper here at the bottom, so it helps enclose this area much better than the Omnitrax system does. Secondarily, they use one lever to tighten not only the two arms, but to tighten the angle that this rotates around its, in effect, horizontal bar. Now the problem with this kind of a system is that if the surgeon gets this angle right and gets each arm in position but then wants to change one of the segments, when they loosen it, okay, it's tight now, everything's locked, when they loosen it, one of the arms might fall or the angle might change. What we've tried to do to overcome those is that each of those three adjustments, the two arms and the angle, are all controlled by separate devices. The angle is controlled by this button right here, so that we can change the angle of this system just by pressing the button. When you want to change that angle, the arms don't loosen up at all. Conversely, if we want to change the arm, then we've got a separate knob for each of the arms that can be used to loosen and move those arms around. Now currently we're using a screw-type tightening device. We're going over to a different type of tightening device in the next few months that will make this an even simpler device to utilize. But these seem to work fine. So we've got the buckler-style field post, coupler, and a round bar version of our Eagle split ring frame. The next part of the system is what we call a snap clamp. Unlike the ratchets in a buckler system, snap clamps will snap and lock onto the frame of a round bar system. Into the snap clamps we can insert any of the round bar blades, and they would be inserted through an opening in the bottom of the snap clamp, and then they're simply mounted onto the frame. I'm going to do this like it would be used in surgery. Snapped on, and then the lever tightened, and they're locked in place. The only thing now movable is that swivel blade, but the tension of the tissue on there holds that in place. Now to change the orientation, it has to be unlocked. They can change it this way, they can retract further or less, and then it has to be locked back in position again. And we often talk when selling our buckler or our mini buckler system, how the round bar systems require two hands to utilize and to lock and unlock, and this is an example of that. So our system has the snap clamps. Our system will have a wide variety of blades, much like our buckler line, all of which feature the swivel. And I'll go over that list a little bit later when we look at our catalog. One thing I do want to point out is that our malleable blades do have the protected edge.